Abraham as the king?
Abraham, really, if you look at it metaphysically, Abraham is Brahma. You take the word Brahma, descramble it, you get Abraham. There's a God called Ab-Ra. You see what I'm saying? Ab is a form of black. The black son, Ab-Ra. You see what I'm saying? Ab-Ra. And then you get Ham, which is also black. Abraham, Ab-Ra, Abraxas, Amen-Ra. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Which is just the father. You see, Abraham is the
That's crazy.
king of Israel, or the father of Israel.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So Israel, Isis, Osiris, Ra, because Ra is Osiris also. Amen-Ra. Osiris is called the hidden god. Amen means hidden, and Ra means the son of God, the hidden god. Amen-Ra, Osiris. And El, or Al, is traced to the Chaldean form of Horus. As a matter of fact, the word Horus and Al is the same, which is the Trinity. So Abraham over Israel, the father of Israel, the father of the Jews, is still talking about the fountainhead or the priest Amen-Ra or Osiris, the spawn of Osiris, the spawn of Cthulhu. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's what that's talking about metaphysically. We want to get into this particular thing of Abraham going down into Egypt. Because there never was a bondage in Egypt.
Right, gotcha.
You see.
Right, not a history book.
Not a historical bondage in Egypt, and built some temples and stuff. And the last temple was built, I think, hundreds of years before Abraham was even born. If you deal with it historically.
Right.
So we're talking about a metaphysical aspect of Abraham, or Brahma, a god that sets over a certain pantheon. Amen-Ra, a god that sets over a pantheon, and even the Lord's Prayer said Amen or Amen
at the end.
At the end, you see. So the Jews didn't take that out, and then all of a sudden in the late 1990s, the Jews who set the standard for TV and all would say, we'll now pronounce it Amun. You see what I'm saying? Amun. So this shit started coming up in 98, 99 and all. Here again, trying to quote the aspect of why is it that in Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, God at the end of your prayers, you say Amen or Amen. And all of a sudden it's Amun. Still trying to cloak the shit.
Right. But it ain't working.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on to Sodom and Gomorrah. Everybody knows that story. The only thing that stands out is this Lot's wife turning around, turning into a pillar of salt.
Lot's wife was the only one that survived. A pillar of salt. In alchemy, salt is the same as sun. Sol, solar. The Sol Niger. They told him to leave the city and don't look back.
Right.
But when you look back, you're looking inward. You're looking to the past, but you're looking inward. She was the only motherfucker about her being a woman that's, primordial enough, like Lilith and them, to go, goddamn well, I ain't following these instructions. I'm going to look back.
Right.
And she was the only one that was illuminated to the high level of the godship by turning into a pillar of salt. Alchemically, that is a form of illumination of the Christ.
You look back in the darkness, turning
off
that light, or getting away from that light. It already existed.
It was called a pillar. Anytime you have a pillar of salt, there you go. That is the illumination. That is the pillar, the Djed pillar.
Tower of Babel.
Tower of Babel, Kundalini in it. She was the only one that was illuminated. You see what I'm saying? Illuminated.
All right, we're going to take a break.
All right.
And we're going to come right back with Moses. Go ahead,
all right, we're going to deal with Moses now. So the way I did Moses, because there's so many stories with him, I just gave subjects of what he went through. First, let's start with him being found by the Pharaoh's daughter.
Yeah. Well, they said it. The word Moses means to draw out of the water, you know. But then again, we have Moses, Tutmosis, and it's an Egyptian name. It's an Egyptian name. Now the story goes that we can trace it back to Akhenaten. The book Moses and Akhenaten, one and the same. Book Ahmed Osman's book, The Moses Mystery. Akhenaten was born in the Pharaoh's house. Akhenaten came from a lineage of pharaohs that came out of Ethiopia. It was political because what he did was he tore down the priesthood by installing this so-called one God. But the one God, remember, the concept of the one God Atan was nothing. It was just something that was new. He got it out of the Ethiopian god Harakahiti. It's Harakahudi or Harakiti, which is a form of Horus in the Ethiopian aspect, and also Atan comes from Ethiopia. At, which is, I think is At and Atan, which is a double composite of mother and son. Gerald Massey talks about it. But he got the concept from his parents, Queen T and those that were a Kushite dynasty. So it wasn't a new invention when Akhenaten overthrew the original priesthood and tried to destroy the pantheon of the house of Amun-Ra, the priesthood of Ptah, the missions of Osiris, and it went to this one god Atan. In so many words, this did not sit well with the priest, and I think that he made a tragic mistake because he misconstrued certain aspects of what religion does, what spirituality. One thing he shouldn't have done was got rid of the actual priesthood. So I think his reign lasted anywhere from 15 years or something like that, maybe 15 to 20 years. But in so many words, the priesthood basically took back the country. Some say he was allowed a safe passage out of Hemmitt, where he set up in the land of Mesopotamia and Canaan, and that's how his theology got molded into a Mesopotamian type of mythology as far as the names.
Okay.
But now, he supposedly had a high priest of this Moses, Tutmosis character, high priest of Amun-Ra, that helped him coin the religion or fashion the religion to be suitable enough for a group of Nubians, not Nubians, Ethiopians or Cushites that was in metropolitan Kemet at the time. By Akhenaten growing up in the Pharaoh's house, he was learning ancient Egyptian language, and he didn't know the Ethiopian or the Cushite language, and therefore this particular priest, it helped him fashion this Atan dynasty of Tel al-Amarna, which is the capital or whatever of the Atan cult. He knew how to speak to these metropolitan group of Ethiopians or Cushites, and therefore he was credited because he taught them the doctrine of the Atan information that Akhenaten was trying to put forth. He was credited for this, the person that they remember. Okay. Remember now, the Torah was written 700 years after Moses' death. These are the historical origins of this particular cult of Akhenaten. Right. So Moses and monotheism, Sigmund Freud, the Moses mystery, later on called the Bible myth by Gary Greenberg, and the other book, Ahmed Osman's book, Moses and Akhenaten. So this is your historical aspect, as well as Gerald Massey's Book of the Beginning, Volume 2. The Egyptian origin of the Hebrews as traced from the monuments, 1881. These are your documentation where you can get more of this particular myth.
Right. Okay.
Or historical, I think it's historical something, some type of origins, Camite origins of the Old Testament. Dr. Charles Finch's book, Echoes from the Old Dark Land, Theme of an African Eden, 1991. Dr. Charles Finch's book. Now, that is the historical story. The metaphysical story
Right.
is the children